Okay, welcome to the very first programming tutorial. Today we will be making a message coder using Modulus, which is basically denoted by a percent sign, which basically gives you the remainder after division. Cool. Simple, right? Okay, let's go. So let's first think about how a message coder works. So basically, you take your word and for each letter you shift by a set amount. In this case, we're shifting one to the right, so therefore we have this, and likewise if we shift once to the left, we're right back where we started. Cool. Okay, now that we know how it works, let's get right into it. Okay, so here are the basic steps we need to create this program. And for now, we're just only going to be limited to one set of 26 letters. So therefore, the shift amount can't go past 26. Because if we, let's say, pick X, there is no way we're going to be able to shift more than 3 units. Because, well, you can't, right? So, yeah. Okay, so the first step is to get the position of the letter. Well, what is it? It's the position of the letter inside the alphabet, right? So, for example, C, it has position 3 because it's the third letter in the alphabet. And likewise, A is the first letter. And then we get the shift amount, which is the amount we want to shift, right? So in this case, +1. Therefore, we take the position of the letter, the original letter, add it to the shift amount, and we get the translated letter, which turns out to be D in this example. So now let's go further and actually be able to go past 26. See, because right now, say we have X. X's position is 24, right? Cool. So therefore, we to get to Z, it only requires 3 units to the right, 2 units to the right. Therefore, we can't. The maximum units to the right is 2. Therefore, we can't go much further than that. Well, see, the clever bit is that when making a message coder, whenever you run out of letters, you actually repeat the alphabet. So therefore, once you end up at Z, you start at A again, and then so on. So that's good. Okay, let's figure that out. Okay, so say we start at A, and let's say we want to shift to E, this E right over here. So let's highlight that. Now, how many letters in between are there? There's 31 letters. There's 30 letters. Okay, so right now it seems kind of confusing, but what we're going to do now is actually divide this up into sections of complete sets of 26 letters. So here we have one set, which we'll color code into red, which we will color code into red. Alright. And here we have another section, which is actually the remainder, isn't it? So, therefore, if we map this E over here, we're going to call it map for now. If we map this E over to the first alphabet, this is essentially what mapping does. Doesn't that isn't that just technically moving it 5 to the right? So therefore, when moving 30, therefore when moving 30 units to the right, actually in reality we're actually only moving 5. So how do we get from this to just this? Well, here we see the reason why we divided it into sets of 26 is because this is one multiple of 26 and this is just the remainder, isn't it? So therefore, to get to E, it's actually just 30 divided by 26, and we get the remainder, which is actually what the modulus does, isn't it? So therefore, let's do it over here. So therefore, 30 modulus 26 equals 30. Gives us 4, doesn't it? So therefore, this the modulus gives us the actual value we need to shift by in the scope of one set of 26 letters. So therefore, here we actually only need to shift. This is equivalent to shifting 4 letters. So essentially we got a formula, and which I already have here. Shifting right is the same as the shift amount modulus 26. Well, now you see. Okay, doesn't that only work for values bigger than 26? Well, that's not the case, right? Because, well, so say we want to move A to B, right? That only takes 1. Well, let's find out, right? Okay, 1 mod 26. Aha, so we get 1, so therefore it works. Okay, we got right. We got shifting right done. Now let's think about left. Left is actually the same thing, right? So again, we're just going to go backwards, right? So therefore, what we're going to do now is we're going to start at Z, okay? And then we're actually going to end that. We're going to decide, we're going to try to, and we're going to end at somewhere like S. Alright, so let's highlight that. Let's highlight Z and let's highlight S, the next S. Nice, okay. So how many letters are here? 33, isn't it? So let's do what we did. Let's use the same process that as we did for moving right. So let's highlight one complete set of 26 letters. So that's one complete set. So let's let's mark that red again. And here is actually the remainder, isn't it? And let's make that green. Yep, okay. And what you'll notice is the same thing, right? So you have the S, which also corresponds to the S here, doesn't it? So therefore, moving by 33 letters is the same as moving 7 letters in the scope of one set of letters, isn't it? And we can simply check our answer by typing in mod 33 mod 26 Indeed, we get 7. Okay, now everything works out. Okay, now we got the basics. But you'll notice one problem. And we're actually going to do it here this time. Okay, so let's say you go from G to B, right? It doesn't work because B is actually before G on when it's within the scope of one alphabet. So therefore, let's try to find a connection between this. So we already done it here, right? So this is 30. This is 21. So we're moving by 21. We're moving 21 units to the right. But in reality, we're not actually moving right. We're moving left because B is before G, right? So therefore, we actually need it's actually different. So therefore, we're actually moving left 5s. And we can easily find that connection by subtracting the 2. And we actually get that this is the same as subtracting 26. This is the same as subtracting 26. And this is also the same as adding 26. Depending on if we're shifting right or shifting left. So this is also, so when the position of one letter is actually behind the position of that letter when we're adding, we actually need to do it as the follows. Shift amount. Remember, this is for right only. Subtract 26. Because as you saw here, this, when we're moving G to B, we're actually moving plus 25 units to the right. But when we shift it into the scope of one set of alphabets, it's actually behind it, and it's actually shifting 5 units to the left. So yes, essentially we're subtracting 26, and likewise for subtraction, we actually need to do shift amounts percent modulus 26 plus 26, because we're doing the opposite. And yep, I think that is it. This is part 1 of a 2-part series that I'm doing. So yeah, next time we'll code it, I guess. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video, and